The planet Tharvok hung like a bruised jewel in the distant sector of Zirak's star charts. Jagged mountains pierced the sky, and deep craters scarred the land from centuries of war. Fires burned in scattered patches, and the air shimmered with heat and smoke. For Zirak, a historian and observer of alien civilizations, Tharvok was supposed to be another standard military front. Yet, even from orbit, something about the humans intrigued him. Zirak adjusted the viewing panel on his ship. His long blue tendrils flexed nervously as he studied the human encampment below. Tiny figures moved like ants, dragging heavy packs, loading strange metallic objects, and speaking in a language Zirak only partially understood. Humans, primitive, unpredictable, dangerous, some of his species whispered, yet there was something different about them. He had seen many species in his lifetime, logical, precise, and coldly efficient. Humans, however, seemed chaotic, driven by emotions and a stubborn persistence that defied reason. Zirak frowned. His mission was simple: observe, record, and report. No interference, but he couldn't shake the feeling that humans might not be what his species expected. With a hiss, Zirak descended toward the encampment in a small observation pod. The air was thick with the scent of metal, sweat, and smoke. Explosions echoed in the distance, and the ground shook beneath him. Humans were fighting an alien force, a rival species whose technology was far superior. Yet these humans moved with courage and coordination that defied logic. He focused on a small squad at the edge of the camp. A human with a scarred face and hardened eyes barked orders. Others obeyed instantly, adjusting their positions, checking their weapons, and scanning the horizon. Zirak noted their improvisation. One soldier used a fragment of metal to prop up a broken machine. Another filled sandbags with soil faster than any automated system could. "They are resilient," Zirak whispered to himself, his voice trembling with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. The first explosion hit close. Humans ducked, rolled, and returned fire with strange devices that spat fire. Zirak's sensors detected damage, but the humans kept moving, their eyes sharp, their focus unbroken. Zirak observed silently as one human, a young fighter with dark hair, carried a wounded comrade to safety. The human didn't hesitate, didn't consider personal risk. The act alone spoke volumes about their courage and their sense of loyalty. "This is unusual behavior," Zirak recorded in his log. "Humans display cooperation and bravery beyond what logic predicts. They act with empathy, even under extreme threat." Hours passed as Zirak watched. Humans repaired broken equipment, shared rations, and even laughed briefly, a sound that seemed almost impossible on a battlefield. Zirak noted the laughter. It was not frivolous, but a signal of resilience. Even in chaos, humans found ways to maintain hope. As night fell, the battlefield transformed. Fires burned brighter against the dark sky, casting long shadows over the humans moving like shadows themselves. Zirak's sensors struggled to track them all, yet every human seemed purposeful, precise in their movements despite exhaustion. One soldier, a young woman named Mara, caught Zirak's attention. She moved swiftly, checking every position, directing her squad with calm authority. When an alien drone appeared overhead, she ducked under fire, grabbed a fallen weapon, and fired with accuracy that stunned Zirak's analytical mind. The drone fell in pieces, and Mara's squad cheered softly. Zirak noted, "Mara demonstrates leadership, courage, and ingenuity simultaneously. This combination is rare across known species." He descended closer, wanting to understand how humans coordinated. At ground level, the chaos was overwhelming. Screams, flashes, debris flying, yet humans adapted instantly. One soldier saw a damaged barricade and turned it into cover. Another used fire from a fallen alien machine to create a diversion. Zirak's mind raced. No other species he had studied used this level of improvisation under stress. Suddenly, the squad was ambushed. Aliens from a higher plateau rained fire down. Humans were pinned, some falling, others scrambling for cover. Zirak braced himself. The outcome seemed inevitable. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and exhausted. Yet the humans refused to surrender. Mara grabbed 2 human soldiers and ran toward the flank, disappearing into smoke and fire. Moments later, she returned, dragging a wounded alien prisoner with her. Zirak's sensors recorded something he did not expect: compassion in the middle of a deadly conflict. "Why help them?" Zirak murmured. "There is no advantage. It is illogical." But that illogical action saved lives. The humans regrouped, using their agility and ingenuity to turn the ambush into a counterattack. Slowly, methodically, they regained their position. Zirak felt a strange sense of awe, a species so small, so fragile, yet capable of facing impossible odds with determination and moral strength. As dawn broke, the battlefield was quiet. Fires smoldered, smoke drifted, and humans moved quietly, tending the wounded, repairing damaged equipment, and preparing for the next encounter. Zirak descended his pod to the camp's perimeter, unnoticed. He needed to see these creatures up close, to understand their methods and their spirit. He observed Mara and her squad treating the injured. They worked together seamlessly, showing no hesitation. Zirak realized this was more than training. It was instinct, cultivated from survival and compassion. Each action reflected not only intelligence, but also the essence of humanity: courage, empathy, and resilience. Zirak approached cautiously. Humans were wary of strange beings, and he didn't want to be seen as a threat. He activated a translator and stepped forward, keeping his posture non-threatening. Mara noticed him instantly. Her eyes narrowed, but there was no panic, only curiosity. "You're not one of them," she said. Her voice was calm, measured, yet carried authority. "I am observer," Zirak replied, his voice mechanical but honest. "I study your species." Mara tilted her head. "Study? On a war front?" "Yes, I record, learn, understand." Zirak's tendrils flexed nervously. "Your species? Surprising? Resilient? Creative? Empathetic?" Mara blinked, then smiled faintly. "You'll see more tomorrow. We don't stop." Zirak recorded her words carefully. They were simple, yet full of meaning. Humans did not just survive, they fought, adapted, and cared, even in the worst circumstances. Over the next few days, Zirak continued to observe. He watched humans navigate minefields with improvised tools, communicate silently with gestures and signals, and plan attacks on technologically superior alien forces. Each encounter revealed more about their ingenuity. He saw humans laugh in the face of danger, joke to ease fear, and sing quietly to keep morale high. They argued, disagreed, but resolved disputes quickly, putting unity above ego. Zirak realized that their strength lay not in their weapons or armor, but in their spirit, their unyielding drive to survive, protect each other, and continue forward no matter the odds. By the end of the first week, Zirak's perception of humans had shifted. They were no longer just subjects to observe, they were teachers. Every decision, every act of courage, every moment of empathy was a lesson in resilience and innovation. As Zirak prepared to leave the camp one evening, he paused and looked at Mara standing by the fires, tending to her squad. The glow illuminated her determined expression. Zirak's log concluded, "Humans are unpredictable yet purposeful. They survive not merely through strength or technology, but through creativity, cooperation, and an unbreakable spirit. My observation suggests they will not only endure, but thrive, even under conditions designed to destroy them. This species is extraordinary." And with that, Zirak realized something profound. He was no longer just an observer. He was becoming part of the human story, and the story had only just begun. The morning light spilled over the jagged ridges of Tharvok, painting the scarred land in hues of orange and gray. Smoke from previous battles still drifted across the plains, carrying the acrid smell of burnt metal and scorched earth. Zirak had spent the night in a quiet observation post near the edge of the human camp, analyzing every detail he could see through his scanning instruments. Yet nothing in his data could have prepared him for what awaited him on the battlefield today. Mara approached him first, as if she had known he would hesitate. "You're coming with us," she said simply. Her dark eyes were steady, her voice calm but commanding. "If you want to understand humans, you'll have to see it up close." Zirak hesitated, unsure whether it was wise to join them. He was trained to observe, not to fight. Yet curiosity and a strange, unfamiliar feeling he could only describe as admiration propelled him forward. He nodded slowly. The humans assembled in the early dawn, preparing for a reconnaissance mission along the front line. Zirak noted their movements, careful, deliberate, yet flexible. Weapons were checked and rechecked. Packs were adjusted. Some humans whispered words of encouragement to each other. Others studied maps with quick, precise gestures, pointing out hazards and opportunities. Zirak followed Mara and her squad across the rocky terrain. He watched as humans adapted to obstacles without hesitation. A fallen tree blocked their path. One soldier climbed over it. Another used it as cover while advancing. Every action was purposeful, yet flexible, an improvisation born of experience and instinct. The first confrontation came sooner than Zirak expected. Alien scouts appeared, patrolling the ridges above them. Humans reacted immediately. One soldier, barely older than a teenager, threw a smoke grenade to obscure their movements. Another took a high vantage point and used a rifle with strange precision. Zirak's sensors recorded the chaos. He had seen battles before, but humans were unlike anything he had witnessed. They didn't panic. They didn't freeze. They analyzed, adapted, and executed with a combination of instinct and reasoning that was extraordinary. "Watch their coordination," Mara whispered as they crouched behind a rocky outcrop. "We move together, cover each other, adapt to what we see. Never hesitate." Zirak recorded every movement, every strategy, but he found himself distracted by the human instinct to protect one another. When a soldier stumbled, another reached out immediately, offering a hand, pulling them to safety while still keeping an eye on the enemy. Compassion and survival existed side by side, a balance Zirak's species rarely achieved. Suddenly, a barrage of alien fire rained down from a ridge. The humans scattered, diving for cover behind jagged rocks and debris. Zirak froze, unsure of what to do. Mara shouted orders, her voice cutting through the chaos. The humans didn't panic. They ducked, rolled, and returned fire with astonishing precision. Zirak marveled at their ingenuity. One soldier, trapped behind a damaged alien turret, managed to repurpose its controls, turning the weapon on their enemies. Another human used a simple mirror to redirect sunlight into the sensors of a scanning drone, blinding it long enough for the squad to advance. Each solution was quick, effective, and creative. Amid the chaos, Zirak observed Mara again. She moved like a shadow, commanding her squad, coordinating attacks, and rescuing wounded soldiers. She displayed a rare combination of bravery, intelligence, and empathy. When an alien drone targeted a young soldier struggling to reload, Mara stepped in, taking the hit herself and redirecting the enemy. Her squad cheered, not just for the victory but for her courage. Hours passed in a blur of movement, strategy, and small victories. The humans adapted to every challenge, turning disadvantages into opportunities. Zirak realized that humans were not just reacting, they were predicting, improvising, and learning in real time. During a brief pause in the fighting, Zirak had a chance to observe more closely. humans worked together seamlessly. They repaired damaged equipment on the spot, shared rations, and even tended to alien prisoners captured during the battle. Zirak noted that even in war, humans demonstrated a moral code. They did not act solely for survival or victory. They acted with compassion, fairness, and respect for life. Zirak spoke quietly to himself. They fight, yet they care. They adapt, yet they teach. They survive, yet they inspire. This is extraordinary. As night fell, the squad established a temporary camp behind a ridge. Fires burned softly, illuminating tired faces. Zirak watched humans tending to their wounds with crude tools, sharing food, and encouraging one another with quiet words of hope. A young soldier named Rilo noticed Zirak observing. "You're new to the front, aren't you?" he asked, a faint smile on his lips. "I observe," Zirak replied, carefully choosing his words. "I study humans." Rilo laughed softly. "You'll see a lot more before sunrise. Humans, we fight hard, but we don't give up. Ever." Zirak recorded every detail. He noted the simplicity of their words and the depth of their meaning. Humans didn't need complex strategies to motivate each other. They relied on trust, camaraderie, and determination. During the night, Zirak witnessed another display of human resilience. A sudden alien patrol attacked the camp. Humans reacted instantly. Alarms rang out, fires flared, and humans moved with precision. Even the wounded fought, holding positions, providing cover, and assisting their comrades. Zirak realized that humans fought not just to survive, but to protect one another. He followed Mara as she led a small group to flank the alien attackers. Using the terrain to their advantage, they created diversions and traps. Humans used their environment in ways Zirak had never seen any species use. Rocks became cover, shadows became concealment, and even sound was weaponized. By dawn, the patrol had been repelled. Zirak had never seen such efficiency combined with empathy. Humans had defended themselves while ensuring no unnecessary loss of life, alien or human. Zirak's log reflected his growing admiration. Humans display a combination of intelligence, adaptability, and morality unseen in any other species. Their methods are unpredictable, their actions purposeful, their courage inspiring. This species may not be the strongest physically or technologically, yet it possesses an indomitable spirit that cannot be measured by conventional metrics. The next day brought a new challenge. Humans had to cross a mined valley to reach a strategic point. Zirak observed as they approached cautiously. One soldier moved ahead using a simple stick to detect mines. Another marked safe paths with stones. Mara coordinated silently, signaling directions with subtle hand gestures. When a mine exploded unexpectedly, it threw a soldier off balance. Without hesitation, another human jumped to his side, pulling him to safety. They did not hesitate to risk themselves for others, even under mortal danger. Zirak felt a strange warmth, a concept alien to his species, as he witnessed this display of selflessness. Hours later, the squad reached their objective, a heavily guarded alien communication outpost. Mara formulated a plan, improvising based on limited information. Humans attacked not with brute force, but with strategy, using noise, shadows, and environmental advantages to confuse and divide the enemy. Zirak observed silently, noting every detail. Humans fought with skill, courage, and a sense of fairness. They disabled enemy machinery without causing unnecessary destruction, captured aliens without harm where possible, and ensured their own safety while minimizing collateral damage. By nightfall, the mission was complete. Humans had achieved what Zirak's species would have considered impossible. He realized that the humans' greatest strength was not their technology or their weapons. It was their mind, their spirit, and their unyielding will to survive and protect each other. As the squad camped for the night, Zirak approached Mara. I do not understand. How do you continue under such conditions? How do you maintain hope and courage? Mara smiled faintly. Exhaustion etched on her face. We fight because we have to. We protect each other because we care. And we survive. Because giving up is not an option. That's what it means to be human. Zirak recorded her words carefully. They were simple, yet they contained a depth he had not anticipated. He realized that observing humans was not enough. He had to understand them from within, to see their courage, their compassion, and their ingenuity firsthand. As he lay beneath the stars that night, Zirak reflected on what he had seen. Humans were more than fighters. They were creators, protectors, and moral beings capable of inspiring even those who were supposed to be their enemies. He felt a profound respect, and perhaps something more, an unfamiliar sense of belonging. Zirak's log concluded, humans are unpredictable, resilient, and morally conscious. They face adversity not with fear, but with determination. They improvise, adapt, and cooperate in ways that surpass logical expectation. My observations indicate that humans do not merely survive, they transform challenges into opportunities and danger into courage. The human spirit is unlike any other I have encountered. For the first time, Zirak felt that he was not simply an observer. He was part of a story larger than himself, a story of survival, courage, and humanity at its finest. And he knew that the coming battles would test not only their physical strength, but the very essence of their spirit. The battlefield was quiet now, but Zirak knew the calm was temporary. Fires still glowed in the distance, and the scent of smoke lingered in the air. Humans moved among the wreckage with careful steps, tending to the wounded, repairing equipment, and preparing for the next engagement. Zirak followed them closely, still unsure whether he was more observer or participant. Mara led her squad through the ruins of a former alien outpost. Every step was calculated. Humans examined the terrain, using rocks, walls, and debris to hide from potential patrols. Their movements were silent, precise, yet fluid. Zirak marveled at how humans adapted instinctively to changing conditions. They learn from everything, Mara whispered as she checked the path ahead. Every mistake, every battle, every move, we remember and improve. That's how we survive. Zirak recorded her words carefully. Learning through experience, instinctively, creatively, was a trait few species possessed. Humans did not rely only on technology, they relied on adaptability, intelligence, and cooperation. As they moved deeper into the ruins, Zirak noticed a group of young humans repairing a broken communication device. They argued at first, their voices low and frustrated, but quickly found solutions together. One suggested using a metal strip from a fallen machine. Another adjusted the power supply with quick precision. Within minutes, the device hummed to life. Zirak realized something profound. Humans did not let ego or hierarchy block progress. Ideas were judged on effectiveness, not on who suggested them. Even in dangerous conditions, their collaboration was seamless. Suddenly, a faint signal crackled through the repaired device. Mara's squad listened intently. The aliens were planning a strike on a nearby supply route. Mara's eyes narrowed. "We need to act before they hit," she said. Zirak felt a shiver run through him. Humans were preparing for another battle, yet they showed no panic. Instead, there was determination, focus, and calm planning. The squad moved quickly, approaching the supply route from a hidden ridge. Zirak noticed their strategies. They set traps using fallen debris, created distractions with small fires, and even used the aliens' own machinery against them. Each human acted independently, yet their actions were coordinated perfectly with the group's goal. When the first alien patrol appeared, the humans reacted with astonishing speed. One soldier used a mirror to redirect sunlight into the drone's sensors, blinding it temporarily. Another created a smokescreen from an overturned vehicle. Mara signaled the attack quietly, and the squad advanced, capturing the patrol without unnecessary violence. Zirak recorded every detail. Humans did not just fight, they outthought their enemies. They used creativity and reasoning alongside courage. They minimized loss while achieving maximum effectiveness. Later, while the squad rested, Zirak observed an intimate moment. A wounded soldier received aid from two comrades. They cleaned his injuries, shared their food, and offered words of encouragement. The soldier smiled despite the pain. Zirak noted the subtle ways humans healed each other, not just physically but emotionally. This connection, Zirak whispered to himself. It strengthens them. It drives them forward. They fight for more than themselves. As they continued toward the supply route, Zirak witnessed human ingenuity in action again. An alien turret blocked the path, heavily guarded. Humans analyzed the structure, studied its weaknesses, and formulated a plan. Mara sent one team to create a diversion, while another approached from a blind spot. Zirak watched as humans worked with precision. They were small in number, but their coordination, adaptability, and creativity made them formidable. When the turret was finally disabled, no human was harmed, and they had captured valuable supplies for their next mission. During the night, Zirak sat near the fire, reflecting on everything he had observed. Humans laughed softly around him, sharing stories and small jokes. They argued playfully, shared memories, and even sang quietly to lift their spirits. Zirak noticed that their resilience was not just physical or mental, it was emotional and moral as well. "Why do they keep going?" Zirak asked Mara later that night. "Even when the odds are against them, even when they are wounded or exhausted?" Mara looked at him thoughtfully. "Because we care. About each other, about what's right. And because giving up is never an option. You don't survive by surrendering to fear. You survive by moving forward, by protecting each other, by thinking and acting together." Zirak recorded her words, realizing that humans' strength was a combination of courage, empathy, and intelligence. They were not the strongest physically or technologically, yet they overcame obstacles that would have crushed other species. The next mission brought Zirak even closer to understanding humans. Mara's squad had to cross a dangerous canyon to intercept alien reinforcements. The canyon was narrow, with treacherous cliffs on both sides, and the wind carried debris that could injure anyone. Zirak followed cautiously, marveling at how humans moved. One soldier spotted a hidden path along the cliffside. Another tested the rocks for stability before stepping. Mara coordinated silently, signaling her squad with subtle gestures. Every move was calculated, yet they adapted instantly when unexpected obstacles arose. Halfway across the canyon, a small alien drone appeared, scanning for movement. Zirak froze, unsure how the humans would react. Within seconds, one soldier flung a rock to create a distraction, while another used a small mirror to reflect sunlight into the drone's sensor. The drone malfunctioned, giving the squad a safe path forward. Zirak realized that humans relied on observation, creativity, and rapid problem-solving more than brute force. They used their minds as much as their weapons, turning disadvantage into advantage. After crossing the canyon, the squad encountered a wounded human group left behind by another squad. Without hesitation, Mara and her team provided aid. They shared food, offered protection, and guided the injured to safety. Zirak noted that humans extended compassion even in the middle of war, prioritizing life over victory. "This is remarkable," Zirak whispered in his log. "They combine strategy, bravery, and morality. They fight with intelligence and empathy. Every action reflects not only survival, but an understanding of the value of life. As days passed, Xeric continued to learn from humans. He observed their methods for organizing supplies, maintaining morale, and supporting each other in the harshest conditions. They celebrated small victories with laughter and songs, and mourned losses quietly but with respect. Every moment revealed layers of ingenuity, courage, and moral strength. One night, as they camped near a destroyed alien supply depot, Mara shared a personal story with Xerac. She spoke of her home, her family, and the friends she had lost in previous battles. "We fight because it matters," she said softly. "Every life, every action, it makes a difference, and we survive because we believe in each other." Xerac was struck by the depth of human emotion. Other species he had studied often acted out of duty or instinct, but humans acted out of belief, empathy, and choice. Their courage was not blind. It was conscious, intentional, and deeply moral. By the end of the week, Xerac had seen countless examples of human ingenuity. They repaired broken vehicles with limited resources, repurposed alien technology for their needs, and created strategies that outwitted far superior enemies. Yet what impressed him most was their ability to combine this intelligence with compassion and loyalty. He realized that humans were more than warriors. They were teachers, innovators, and moral beings. Their victories were not only measured in territory or supplies, but in the strength of their bonds, the courage to act rightly, and the creativity to overcome impossible odds. Xerac's log entry summarized his reflections. Humans are exceptional. They combine adaptability, intelligence, courage, and empathy in ways unparalleled by other species. They think, act, and feel simultaneously, creating solutions that are both practical and moral. Their strength lies not in numbers or technology, but in spirit, cooperation, and ingenuity. They survive not by chance, but by the conscious choice to persist, to protect, and to innovate. Humanity is extraordinary. As the squad prepared for the next battle, Xerac understood that his role had changed. He was no longer just an observer. He was a witness to the human spirit, a chronicler of their courage and ingenuity. And he knew that the ultimate test of their resilience and his understanding was still to come. The humans had survived countless challenges, adapted to the impossible, and inspired even an alien observer. Xerac felt a deep respect, a sense of awe, and a growing connection to these extraordinary creatures. He realized that the story of humans was not merely one of survival, but of triumph through ingenuity, empathy, and unwavering courage. And he knew that when the next battle came, it would reveal not just the strength of humans, but the essence of what it truly meant to be human. The sky above Tharvok was filled with dark clouds and the rumble of distant explosions. Fires burned across the horizon, casting flickering light over the jagged terrain. Xerac stood among the human soldiers, feeling a mix of anticipation and awe. Today they would face the largest alien force yet, a force equipped with advanced technology, far stronger in numbers, and determined to crush the human front. Mara gathered her squad for a final briefing. Her face was calm, yet her eyes burned with determination. "This is the moment we've trained for," she said. "We know the terrain. We know their weaknesses. Stick together. Watch each other's backs. And remember, we survive. We adapt. We protect each other. That is how humans win." Xerac listened carefully, recording every word. There was no arrogance in her tone, only focus, courage, and trust in her squad. Humans did not rely solely on strength. They relied on ingenuity, teamwork, and spirit. Xerac felt a deep respect for these small, determined beings. As they approached the battlefield, Xerac observed the alien forces waiting for them. Massive machines, advanced weapons, and disciplined soldiers loomed ahead. Most species would have fled or surrendered, Humans, however, moved forward with quiet confidence, studying the enemy and the terrain, calculating risks, and preparing to act. The first clash was sudden. Alien drones swooped down from above, firing beams of energy. Humans reacted instantly, diving for cover, returning fire, and coordinating movements with practiced precision. One soldier used debris to create a diversion, while another redirected energy beams using reflective surfaces. Mara signaled her squad and they advanced strategically, avoiding the heaviest fire while targeting key enemy positions. Zirak's sensors recorded every action, yet they could not fully capture the essence of what he saw. Humans were not just fighting. They were thinking, improvising, and protecting each other simultaneously. Every movement had purpose, every decision balanced risk and compassion. Amid the chaos, Zirak saw acts of bravery that defied belief. One soldier ran across an open area to rescue a fallen comrade, dodging energy beams and debris. Another used a makeshift shield to protect a group of wounded soldiers while they retreated to safety. Humans risked themselves, yet calculated each move to minimize harm. "Observe," Mara shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. "We don't just fight, we adapt." Zirak watched as humans created traps from their environment. Fallen alien machines were repurposed as barriers. Fires were used to distract enemies. Shadows became cover, and sound became a tool to confuse and mislead. The humans turned the battlefield into an extension of themselves, a place where ingenuity and courage could triumph over superior technology. Hours passed, and the battle raged on. The humans faced heavy losses, but they never faltered. Zirak noticed something remarkable. Even when exhausted, even when wounded, humans continued to fight with determination, protect each other, and find solutions to impossible problems. At one critical moment, an alien mech advanced toward the human flank, threatening to destroy their defenses. Mara assessed the situation quickly. Using a combination of quick thinking and knowledge of the terrain, she directed a squad to lure the mech into a narrow canyon. Another team disabled support systems along the canyon's edge, causing the mech to become trapped. The humans then coordinated a precise strike, neutralizing the threat without unnecessary destruction. Zirak recorded the maneuver in detail. Humans had combined intelligence, teamwork, and courage to overcome a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. It was not brute force that won the day. It was creativity, coordination, and unyielding spirit. During the final hours of the battle, Zirak saw the most profound display of human resilience yet. Alien forces regrouped for a last, overwhelming assault. Humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and exhausted. Yet they did not panic. They formed defensive lines, supported one another, and executed strategies with calm precision. Mara led a small team to disable a key alien communications tower. The mission was dangerous, yet necessary. Zirak followed closely, noting her courage and quick thinking. When an alien soldier appeared unexpectedly, Mara improvised instantly, using the terrain to block the attack and neutralize the threat. Her squad moved seamlessly, covering each other, adjusting to every new danger. By nightfall, the alien forces were defeated. The humans had secured the battlefield, captured critical resources, and minimized casualties. Zirak felt a mixture of awe and disbelief. These creatures, small and seemingly fragile, had achieved the impossible. Their victory was not just physical, it was moral, intellectual, and spiritual. Zirak approached Mara as she tended to her squad. I do not understand," he admitted. "How do you continue, even when the odds are against you? How do you fight, think, and protect each other simultaneously?" Mara looked at him calmly. "We fight because it matters. We protect because we care, and we survive because giving up is never an option. That is what it means to be human." Zirak recorded her words, feeling a strange warmth within himself, a feeling alien to his species. Humans were more than fighters. They were teachers, innovators, and moral beings. Every victory, every act of bravery, every moment of compassion revealed the essence of humanity. In the aftermath of the battle, Zirak walked among the humans, observing how they cared for each other and their environment. Wounded soldiers were treated with care. Supplies were organized efficiently. The dead were honored respectfully. Humans celebrated small victories, shared stories, and even found moments to laugh amidst the devastation. Zirak realized that human strength was not in technology or weapons. It was in spirit, courage, ingenuity, and moral conscience. Humans did not fight because they had to. They fought because they chose to. They survived not because it was easy, but because they refused to surrender to fear or despair. In the days that followed, Zirak documented every detail of the battle and the human response. He recorded strategies, tactics, and innovations, but most importantly, he recorded the human spirit. He understood that no sensor, no weapon, no calculation could fully capture what made humans extraordinary: their empathy, resilience, creativity, and unyielding determination. Mara approached him one evening as the sun set behind the mountains. "You've been with us through everything," she said. "Do you understand now?" Zirak nodded slowly. "Yes, I understand more than I ever thought possible. Humans survive, not merely through strength or skill, but through spirit, ingenuity, and care for one another. You are remarkable." Mara smiled faintly. "And that is why we endure. That is why we survive. That is why humans continue, even when everything seems lost." Zirak looked out over the battlefield. Fires still burned in distant ridges, but the humans were safe. They had turned defeat into victory, chaos into order, and danger into opportunity. He realized that the story of humans was not just about survival. It was about inspiration, hope, and the triumph of courage and morality over adversity. He made his final entry in the log. Humans are extraordinary. Their victories are not measured in territory or numbers, but in spirit, creativity, and moral courage. They adapt, innovate, and survive against overwhelming odds. They protect each other, think beyond themselves, and act with empathy and intelligence. Humanity is not merely a species. It is a force of resilience and inspiration that transforms every challenge into an opportunity. I have witnessed their courage, and I am changed. Humans are the living proof that spirit, ingenuity, and morality can overcome any obstacle. As Zirak looked at the humans around him, tired, wounded, yet smiling, laughing, and caring for one another, he knew he would never view war or life the same way again. He realized that the human story was not one of mere survival, but of triumph, a testament to creativity, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. And Zirak, once a distant observer, now knew he would remain among them, chronicling their journey and learning from their unmatched resilience. For the humans of Tharvok had proven something no other species had, that the true strength of a being was not in its power or weapons, but in its courage, morality, and heart. And that, Zirak thought, was the greatest victory of all.